arising for Muslims and for non-Muslims alike. There are medical issues, economic issues, social issues, and the rest of them. But we shall be focusing in our discussion this evening on a particular aspect of those matters arising, especially for the faithful, for the Muslims. Of COVID-19 pandemic on your relationship with your Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How does this period of pandemic either improve on or affect negatively your relationship with God Almighty? This is an area that I want to draw our attention to. Because it is the wish of Almighty Allah that COVID-19 will be around with us this time, and whenever He wishes, He will take it away from us. But the most important thing is for a sensible man and woman to assess him or ourselves before and after this pandemic. Where have you been, and where do you hope to be? Especially in terms of your relationship with Almighty Allah, otherwise known as al-ibadah. Generally, this as it has been named, as actually made it how vulnerable, how helpless we could be. Subhanallah. It reminds me of some of the stories that we have had. Stories of the generation, stories of the people that were before. In the time of the Prophet, there used to be a tyrant leader. He was oppressing all the believers in him. It was time for Allah to deal with him. He dealt with him, sending unto him a very insignificant creature of speech. Ba'udah, a mosque, was the creature of Allah that was used to deal with such a tyrant leader in the name of Namrud in the time of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Not only that, if we can go back to the book of Sirah, the life history of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we were told that in the year of his birth, which is popularly known in the book of history as some people, out of sheer arrogance, disbelieved in Almighty Allah. And not only that, they wanted to come and destroy the house of Allah, Al-Kaaba al-Musharrafa in Mecca. Allah also dealt with them with another very insignificant, in our own human perspective, creature of his. Just bed, flocks of bed were used to deal with Abraha and his team when they attempted to destroy Al-Qaeda. In the same vein, my brothers and sisters in Islam, who will ever imagine that as developed as we have been, technology, as much as we have advanced, Are you with me? Are we together?
Nam.
Are we together?
Nam, we are.
Okay. Let me continue because the line here, I think the line broke. So the conversation we lost where we are. But let us resume our conversation now. As I was saying, when we look at the history of mankind, anytime that humanity has actually reached a certain level of arrogance, of disobedience to Almighty Allah, He has His own way of calling mankind to order. He did it with Namrud, like I told you. He did it with Abraham in the year of field, the year of elephants. And I think in the same perspective, perhaps Allah has chosen to teach us that lesson, we, the present generation of mankind, that have been behaving so arrogantly, exhibiting all manners of insubordination to our Creator, as if it's no more. But imagine a virus that we cannot even see with our own eyes is that Creator of Almighty Allah that He has sent, that He has used to bring every one of us to his or her need. No more superpower. Everybody is affected. Every nation is in fear of the consequences that we may not even imagine how dreadful they are going to be. But as I was saying, what matters to us as Muslims, as believers in Almighty Allah, in a situation like this, is to look at how we can change this, convert these challenges to golden opportunities. So that, like I said in the beginning, it's only when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes to take away this pandemic that it will go away, no matter what we do. We just plead to Him, we ask Him, we beg Him to please, as quick as possible, forgive us, have mercy on us, and remove all these sovereigns from mankind. But actually, we should see it in that light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said categorically in Al-Quran Al-Kareem, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. Nobody but He knows exactly His army that He can use, that He can unleash on any herring, nation, group, or individuals. Now, we are already in the midst of this pandemic called COVID-19. And it's also a pointer to a fact as a Muslim, as Muslims, and even to non-believers, we have to address them clearly. If anybody is still in doubt about whether there's going to be an opportunity for him or her to have a rethink, it is now clear that there is somebody, there is a God, there is a Creator that is in command, that is in control of everything. Subhanallah. If He had so wished to wipe out all living things within a twinkle of an eye, within a second or less, we've seen it clearly now that He could have done it very, very easily. And this is the first point that I will refer to as one of the matters arising from the present experience that we are all going through. To reassure ourselves of the reality of Al-Qiyamah, that no matter how long or short we live on this earth, we are actually on a journey, and we shall end up accounting for whatever we do while we are here. And that is the day of resurrection, the day of reckoning. In an authentic hadith narrated by Anas ibn Malik, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, a very famous companion of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Anas narrated that on a particular day, I was with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the mosque. As we were leaving the mosque, I was in him a very strange question. What was the question? قال يا رسول الله متى الساعة يا رسول الله متى الساعة. Oh, the messenger of Allah, when exactly is the day of resurrection going to come? When exactly are we going to leave this world and start a new page? Look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He knew what should be the answer to such a question. When is asking about particular timing. But the Prophet ﷺ has no answer to that. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nobody, including the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, knows exactly when Yawm al-Qiyamah is going to be. And that is why you will realize whoever is deceiving people, they have been deceiving mankind for a long time by declaring that in the next few days, in the next few months, the whole world will come to an end and there will be time for resurrection. But this is all rubbish. Nobody, including the messengers of Almighty Allah, can say precisely when Al-Qiyamah, the day of resurrection, shall be. Instead of wasting time in looking for an answer that is non-existent anyway, the Prophet ﷺ answered in a very, very smart way. What did he tell them? What preparation do you have for Yawm al-Qiyamah? That should be your concern. To come after a minute, after an hour, after a day, after 100 years, after 1,000 years, we don't know. But how prepared are you and how prepared every one of us? That should be our major concern. ماذا أعددت لها? Believe me, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, this COVID-19 has, let us see it clearly, that a day can come that we will all sleep, expecting to wake up in the next morning, and that will never come. That will be the end of the world. We are all helpless up to now. So it therefore tells us clearly to look at our preparation for that day. That will certainly and inevitably come one day. There's no doubt about that as Muslims. So, ماذا أعددت لها? What is your level of preparation as a believer in Almighty Allah for that day? Using this particular experience we are all going through to do that. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, a lot of lessons must be learned from this pandemic that we are all witnessing, from this lockdown and lock-up. You see, we are witnessing lockdown. Some people have been locked up because they disobey the mundane authorities that tell them not to go out. If you go out, you will be arrested and be jailed. So it's altogether lockdown and lock-up. In view of all this, what can a Muslim derive as opportunities, changing these challenges to golden opportunities? You are at home now, 24 hours, not going out. Even if you wish to do, the authority says you cannot do that. They have taken away my freedom, they've taken away your freedom. And we are all happy about that because we believe they are doing that in our best interest. Well, let me ask myself, and you should ask yourself these following questions. Because of the hustle, because of the struggle of life, remember, ask yourself, when last did you have time to read a page of Al-Quran al-Karim? 2 pages of Al-Quran al-Karim, more or less? Because I have to go to my work. Some people, because they come home from work lately, some people will not be back at their various homes except at maybe 7, 8 p.m., 9, 10 p.m., some 11 p.m. And as early as 4, 5 a.m. the next day, they are on their way too. So there's no chance, there's no way. They are always busy. This is an opportunity for you. So get yourself closer to the book of Almighty Allah. And especially those of us that are not so good in reading Al-Quran Al-Kareem. You know, it is a fact. It is a reality. Not any if you happen to praying or we call ourselves Muslims. How many of us are real Muslims? How many of us are actually observing the prayers? But alhamdulillah, if you happen to be one of those that are blessed, that are favored to be doing that, ask yourself, in addition to the obligatory prayers, did I have time for observing nawafil? That is the supererogatory prayers that are highly recommended. In a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Man salla fi kulli yawmin ithnatay asharata rak'ah, bana Allahu lahu baytan fil jannah." Whoever observes, after observing the 5 obligatory prayers, whoever observes 12 rak'ahs, 12 units of salah as nawafil, as non-obligatory, every day, he or she should be assured of a particular place, of a house to be built for him or her in paradise. This is an opportunity for you to start doing that if you have not been doing this. Let me also remind you again, it is highly recommended that when we observe Salah to Subhi in congregation, that we remain where we observed our Salah for about 30 minutes, for about an hour or so, until it is time for sunrise. If you can do that, then you observe just 2 rak'ah after sunrise for about 15-20 minutes, then you will have a reward equivalent of somebody that went on less pilgrimage, Umrah, for you just to remaining where you observe your congregational prayer of Subhi and waiting until it is time for sunrise and leaving about 15-20 minutes after that and observe those 2 rak'ahs. So these are opportunities that majority of us have always been wasting. So it is time for us to reclaim those golden opportunities. So this is the first matter that I think we should see it as a matter arising, a way of converting the challenge of staying at home, of lockdown, into golden opportunities. Now, another thing that we should think of as an opportunity to also remind ourselves of being kind to one another. In this period of lockdown, people that rely on daily wages, where will they eat from? What will sustain them in this period? It is also a reminder. Says, ليس بالمؤمن الذي يشبع وجهه. It's not a good Muslim. It's not a good believer in Almighty Allah. Anybody that always finds something to eat to the level of satisfaction, while knowing that his neighbor is hungry. So it's a way of reminding ourselves of how to show kindness, to show mercy to our fellow human beings, particularly our brothers in faith. In another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Irhamu man fil ardi, yarhamukum man fis sama." If you want Allah that is in the heaven to show more mercy on you. One of the best ways of assuring yourself of that is to show mercy to fellow human beings. So please, of what will sustain them from the little that you have. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us his blessings in categories. Look at those who are less privileged, those who have less than what you have, and try to be kind and try to show mercy, show love to them by sharing a little of what Allah has bestowed on you of his mercy. This will earn you great reward. It will enhance your status in the sight of Almighty Allah. And by so doing, you must have turned the challenge of being at home because of the pandemic, to a golden opportunity that will draw you even closer to your Creator, Almighty Allah. Also, another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that has just come to my mind. You know, in situations like this, to me, I even see such a situation as an opportunity of understanding more the sayings of Almighty Allah and the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ. It is a hadith that we've all had, that we've all read in the past, but it seems we've not understood it correctly. We've not understood. We found ourselves will actually throw some light on how best to understand the sayings of Almighty Allah and those of his Prophet ﷺ. In one hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he encouraged us to take advantage of 5 things before another 5 things replace them. 5 before 5. Ibtanim khamsan qabla khamsin. He listed it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there are 5 inevitable things. And they, whether you like it or not, there will be a time these 5 inevitable conditions. It said one of those inevitable conditions that will come to replace one another. It said, Sihataka qabla sakumika wa faragaka qabla shuglika. He mentioned 5, but let's just discuss these 2. Sihataka qabla sakumika. Take advantage of your health when you are healthy, when you have power to do, when you have ability to perform, before a time will come that you will fall sick. Created us is not the way he wants us to live, and we cannot live otherwise. So it's part of his plan that we will be healthy sometimes. We don't have any pandemic around. We don't have any sickness affecting us, but there will be some at times that you cannot do without, and there's that you shall be benefited will fall sick. Again, وَفَرَاغَكَ قَبْلَ سَقْمِكَ. And take advantage of your free time. This should be underlined. Take advantage of your free time before you become busy again. There's no doubt. Every one of us now, we have more time at our disposal, more free time at our disposal. And COVID-19 did not just happen without the wish of Almighty Allah. And insha'Allah ta'ala, we are praying to him very soon, through his mercy. He will have mercy on us. He will forgive our shortcomings. He will bless us, and he will restore everything that you have been enjoying, insha'Allah ta'ala. But I've heard even politicians globally saying the world shall never be the same after COVID-19. Now take a lesson from that. If you remain the same way the same level of practice of your religion, the same your relationship with Almighty Allah remains on the same level before and after this pandemic, then you have to think of what is wrong with you. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, take advantage of your free time. Nobody could ever imagine this, even a month ago, 3 weeks ago, that we will have a lot of time. Some people do not even know what to do again. I saw a post on the WhatsApp some few days ago. Jokingly, somebody said, I've exhausted all the sitting position that I can think of when watching television. Can anybody point to another one to me? Sitting, standing, pandemic. More than 1,000 years ago, that you will have a free time, then you will be busy some other times. Now it is the time that we have the free time. Take advantage of this free time. Before, we don't know, maybe after some days, okay. Another very important matter arising from this present situation that we've all found ourselves is not to allow Shaitan, our enemy, to mislead us using the advantage of COVID-19 pandemic. What do I mean by that? You see, there's no doubt about that. A situation like this may be because of our disobedience to Almighty Allah. Maybe because of some things that we have done that make him angry with us. We can never say. But it will be very bad of us to now use this COVID-19 to aggravate our disobedience, to intensify our show of insubordination to Almighty Allah, particularly in trying to introduce forms of ibadah that have no basis in Islam. Some people, because of this situation now, are busy formulating nawafil, dua, sending to people on WhatsApp, on social media, observe so nafila, number of rakaat, then say so la hawla wa la quwwata for so many, for this so time, and the rest of them. These are all condemnable innovations and bid'ah. We should not allow Shaitan to turn this pandemic to a way of doing what we may further put us against our Creator Almighty Allah. So it may be we are experiencing all this because we are being disobedient to Him. We don't need to aggravate our disobedience, as I've said. So, al-ibadah, acts of worship, be it dua, be it salah, any form of worship, be it fasting, any form of worship. Do you know that it is an exclusive right of Almighty Allah? Yes. It is an exclusive. We don't have any right to decide on how we should worship Almighty Allah. He has that exclusive right to say, this is the way I want me to be worshipped. So I'm advising us that we should avoid any attempt by Shaitan to mislead us into thinking that, we want to draw ourselves closer to Almighty Allah We want to beg for His mercy on us, on the whole mankind, but in so doing, we have to do it also in line with what pleases Him. And what pleases Him is what He has sent through His messenger, Muhammadun sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is that it's good. It's an opportunity for you now to engage in non-obligatory acts of ibadah. But you have to follow the rule. You don't have that right of telling people to observe a particular number of rakah. Tell them to wake up in the middle of the night, the number of rakat, and make dua to Almighty Allah to show more mercy on all of us. That's all. But for us to start dictating to people, giving them numbers of rakat, the kind of dua they should make, and some even went to the extent of stipulating the time that you have to wake up at, so it may be a way that Shaitan, an opportunity that Shaitan has been looking for to further put us in a situation that will make Almighty Allah, our Creator, even more angry to mankind. So in essence, the way, the form, the number, and even the place for observing any act of ibadah. And Almighty Allah continue to show us the light and give us the courage to follow sin. Also, I'll try to persuade some people to what is not pleasing to Almighty Allah. For example, some people, because of this situation, because of the situation, the lock, the scarcity, some commodities, hiking the prices of those commodities, and they know certainly that this is going to inflict more harm, more hardship on people. So please, this is a time for you to show kindness, as we have said. And if you don't have anything to offer, please, my dear brother and sister, do not add to the difficulty that people are already going through. It is sinful. It is sinful in the sight of Almighty Allah. Now, I will let us now move to specific issues that we have not been hearing of them before. Have not been engaged with such issues before COVID-19, but they have all come to live with us as a result of the consequences of the pandemic. One, a lot of authorities in many parts of the world now have said there is no congregation prayer. Mosque should be closed and everybody should pray at home. We have some scholars that are not in support of this, really. I'm not unaware of that. But I'm going to tell you here that looking at the totality of the proofs of Sharia, if it is established that avoiding congregation of a large number of people will actually be effective in preventing the spread of a disease, COVID-19 or another, then the totality of Sharia proofs will support what majority of scholars have actually given us fatwa today. Why? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, during his lifetime, would tell his muazzin, as narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, whenever it was raining, just raining, a kind of rain that may inflict some harm, some danger, may cause some danger, some difficulty for the worshipper. He will instruct his muazzin, the caller to prayer, that when you come to hayya ala salat, which means come on and observe salat in masjid, in the mosque, the Prophet will command the muazzin not to say that, but to say sallu fi buyutikum. Sallu fi buyutikum, meaning pray at your various houses. Stay at home and pray. Now, if the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam could command his muazzin to ask people to stay at home, why? So as to prevent the occurrence of anything that could be harmful to them as a result of rain. Then even with more reason, that is how the ulama have viewed it. In an event of rain is far less than what could be expected, as we have been told that this is a virus that is easily transferable from one person to another. And it has been established medically that the more we gather, the more we have congregation of people coming together in a particular place, and there is high possibility of this virus transferring, moving from one person to another. Preservation of human lives is a great priority in Islam. So please, if there is a fatwa or there is an order by the authority wherever you are that says you must stay at home and avoid coming to mosque, just as a temporary measure for this trying period that we are all in, please abide by that. This will also go in line with the saying of Almighty Allah in Al-Quran Al-Kareem, Ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasula wa ulil amri minkum. Follow, obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obey his messenger, as well as those who are in authority, those who are leaders that are in authority that you must obey. Now, arising from that directly, since we don't have opportunity of observing Jummah now, not only Jama'ah, even Jummah, can we then decide, okay, before we go to that, please note that what is being said is for you not to come to masjid to observe Jama'ah in masjid. But this does not prevent a family of 2, 3, 4, 5 individuals to observe their own Jama'ah in their own premises. So Salatul Jama'ah has far greater reward than individual Salat. So please let us abide by that too, that it is not, nobody is prescribing, nobody is declaring as invalid Salatul Jama'ah because of COVID-19, but avoid coming to mosque because of the fact that the more we gather together, the higher the risk. So, but that does not mean that you should not observe Salatul Jama'ah in your house if you have an opportunity. And we must all learn how to relate to a husband and his wife. How to observe Salatul Jama'ah is that you must form 2 rows, a row for your husband and the other one for you. It's not allowed for a man and a woman to stay side by side in a row while performing Salat. So if you are just 2 in a household, a husband and his wife, that means you are going to form 2 rows. If you are 3, then we look at the 4th person. Is he a male or a female worshipper? No matter, even if he's a young Muslim, no matter how, if he's as young as 7, 8, 9, 10, that he can observe Salah, then the same rule applies to him or her. Yes, if you have a male, a 4th male worshipper, then the rows shall remain 2. It means we'll now have one row consisting of the Imam and the Ma'mum, the one following the Imam as a male worshipper who will now stand by his right hand side, and the female worshipper will remain behind them in just two rows. Likewise, if you have four, two males, two females in the same order, it means it remains. The first one, the Imam, beside him on his right hand side, the male worshipper that joins him. Then the second row, on the same line, without being ahead of one another, we will have the females forming the second row of Salat, and it goes like that. For example, if you are more than that, you have 3 male worshippers in a household and 3 female worshippers in. How do you do that? How do you do your jama'ah? Your jama'ah will now be at least, you will form 3 rows now. It means the Imam will be alone in the first row. The second row, since when the followers of an Imam, the moment they become more than one person following an Imam, then they must form a different them, or the 2 of them, plus the Imam that is leading them. And the third row will be occupied by the female worshippers, the members of the family, and so on and so forth. This is one of the matters that we have not been hearing of it frequently, because we didn't have such directly from this. If you can observe Salatul Jama'ah at home, can we also observe Salatul Jummah at home is a controversial issue. Scholars around the world have been debating the matter. You know, these are novel issues that nobody has ever thought of them before. It has never happened, I'm saying it, in the history of Islam that no Jummah, no Jama'ah was observed in the whole city like this, no matter how. So this is a novel, it's a new matter, and we have to deal with Sharia in the Book of Allah and in the Hadith of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Majority of scholars today, and that is the view that I also hold, that the issue of Jummah must be left for where we can congregate, because that is the wisdom behind introduction of Jummah as a special way of observing Salah on a Friday. You see, even on every Jummah, we will abandon all our Jama'ah in different masajid with the purpose of gathering as a community in just one mosque. You know, in Islam, the ideal thing is for a city to, if it is felt that for some reasons the mosque cannot contain all of us, the city has become so wide that it becomes difficult for people to come from every part to just one Jummah, then it may be allowed to have multiple Jummah. But the ideal thing in the whole city of Medina, and that was the Jummah being led by the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So the issue of Jummah, let us listen to what the vast majority of scholars in the world are saying, that should be left for the time being until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His mercy, we hope, restores our freedom, the enjoyment of all we have been enjoying before this pandemic that struck all of us. Also, now there's a third matter arising from this, the issue of observing salawat while we are not attending our respective mosques. Is the issue of some people have raised it in some part of the world that through internet, through satellite televisions, we can listen to, at least in some mosques up till today, they are still observing Jummah, like in the Holy Mosque of Makkah al-Mukarramah, in the Prophet Mosque in Medina, even without congregation, without Jama'ah. But they wanted to maintain that such a very, very revered places or a place of such revered places of worship, Jummah we must never cease observing Jummah in them. This is the view of the scholars. tempting to follow the Imam using the internet, using the satellite station or whatever. Please, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, it's not allowed for an Imam not to be physically seen by whoever is following him. Not only in Salatul Jama'ah, following an Imam through radio broadcast, through television, through internet is never allowed in the Sharia of Islam. So this is out of it. You cannot observe your Jum'ah following an Imam that is far, far, far away, that you cannot even physically see. That I've had some people discussing is the issue of social distancing in relation to our salawat. We said it clearly that we may observe Salatul Jama'ah in our houses, but we need to stand shoulder to shoulder as we used to. That is highly recommended. I'm saying it is highly recommended because I have some people saying it's not even recommended. It's not a something that has any proof in Quran or Sunnah. No, this is not so. The progress of show that people form a very straight line, not even any parts of their bodies going beyond one another. So it is a highly recommended act of salah that you must form a very straight row, that we would stand feet to feet and shoulder by shoulder. Now, in this era of social distancing, can we social distance? Can we social distance while observing Salatul Jama'ah? Is also a controversy. Necessary for a household that they are suspicious of each other, that perhaps a member of the household might have contracted this virus, then it will not be something that invalidates their salat, even if they show the social distance in their rows to fulfill salat. Why? In the manner that is recommended by Prophet ﷺ, that we should stand shoulder by shoulder, our feet touching one another, is a sunnah, is something that is recommended but is not obligatory. It does not invalidate. But you know, we do not deliberately leave it. We must observe it because we are followers of our Prophet ﷺ. But as I said earlier on, this one, if it becomes necessary, it's far better for them to observe Juma, even with social distancing, than totally avoiding praying in congregation in such a household. I think with this, we have to put a stop at our discussion this evening, hoping that whatever we have said, Allah will make it beneficial to all of us, including the speaker and the listeners, and will make it, inshallah, a proof that will be for us and not against us when we are called to account for all our deeds on the day of resurrection. I don't know if there will still be room for questions and answers in the next few minutes, or we call it a day now. Prof, over to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خيرا وأحسن الله إليكم. نعم. Yes, sir. Will you be able to attend to questions and answers, sir? Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me, sir? Hello, sir.
Naam. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The next few minutes, inshallah.
Okay, sir. We are looking towards the participants to drop their questions so that the Sheikh can attend to them now. If you have any question, you may send them to us via the WhatsApp platforms or the official Telegram account. You can still send your questions through the YouTube of a thing. So we are looking forward to receiving your questions. We are checking through, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, as we are...
Yes, there is one now, sir. Okay.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I'm advising us, please let us learn this particular dua of the Prophet ﷺ and teach all members of our family. Evening, no evil whatsoever in the heavens and on the earth will actually touch such a person, COVID-19 and other evils. So please let us make it a habit that we do this. It's part of the things that we have forgotten for so many times, but COVID-19 may be a way of reminding us. Say every day, Bismillahilladhi la yadurru ma'a ismihi shay'un fil ardi wa la fis sama' wa huwa as-sami'ul 'alim. In the heavens and on the earth. No questions. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Yes, sir. There is no question, sir.
Okay, so that means we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the opportunity. Okay. Now, a question is coming.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can read it here. Somebody is saying my question is in respect of observing Jama'ah in one's house with only female worshippers. Please. The rule is that when women are observing their Jama'ah, it's allowed. Let us establish that one first and foremost. If a group of women decide to observe Jama'ah among themselves, there's nothing wrong in that in Sharia. It was practiced by some of the companions, female companions of the Prophet ﷺ. But the rule is that the one leading them, the Imam, will be in the middle. They will form just one row, not more than a row, not more than a soft. It's different. All women then form a row while whoever is leading you form a soft of all worshippers being female. Wallahu a'lam. Now.
Yes, sir. There is another one, sir.
Okay. Yes, what's the question?
Okay, sir. The questioner says about Islamic mortgage, not swap props, or it's something. Okay, this one is not available
Mm,
now. Okay, here's another one, sir.
mm,
Can we birth a person that dies through
mhm.
coronavirus? Can we birth a person that dies through coronavirus? That is the question, sir.
Well, uh, this issue is not clear up till now. There is a claim that has not been substantiated that the virus can still be active, can still be infectious even upon the death of a victim of COVID-19. But this has not been confirmed. But to play safe, Islam encourages us not to take unnecessary chances. If we are in doubt of our safety as the living ones, we can still accord the departed soul, our brother or sister that has died as a result of COVID-19 or any other pandemic, by in Islam, even not in an ordinary situation, if for whatever reason you are unable to perform ritual bath al-ghusl for a dead Muslim, you resort to at-tayammum. This is a general rule. There are many instances that warrant this. For example, if a female dies and all those who are around to take care of her, they are all males and they are not related to her as husband or as father or as son. So they cannot have access to our privacy or to our private part. So the rule in Sharia is that whenever it becomes impossible for you to perform ghusl on a dead body, then you resort to at-tayammum. So tayammum should be the way out in such a situation. And it is also been advised that it should be performed by the medical expert. In most instances, a victim of COVID-19 will most likely die in a hospital. So what we should do, and I think the highest authority that is representing Muslims in Nigeria, the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, has actually made a press release about a week ago, that they have discussed with the federal government, with state governments at different states, to allow a representative of Muslims among the medical practitioners, may not necessarily be a doctor, but among the healthcare providers that will be responsible for doing what is necessary for a Muslim corpse. So, but if it is possible, if by their own recommendation it is safe even to perform ghusl for him or her, fine. If it becomes impossible, there is a rule, a standing rule in Sharia that says we resort to at-tayammum, just as you perform tayammum for a living human being, we also perform tayammum. You know, you can assist somebody to perform ablution. You can assist somebody to perform tayammum if he or she is unable to do that. So we do the same thing for the Muslim corpse who dies. Wallahu alam. Now.
Jazakumullahu khairan. Another questioner says, sir, what is your take on the use of Habatu Sauda for curing coronavirus?
Habbatu Sauda recommended, highly recommended by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is something that we Muslims should actually derive pride from. That a non-Muslim governor here in Nigeria has now pronounced it, make it public, that he actually used the advice of a Muslim medical doctor. He actually used Habbatus Sauda, recommended for a sickness that we should use that and we should actually take pride in so doing as Muslims. Yeah. If Prof is still with us, Naam, Malam Yunus.
Naam.
Yeah, because very soon I believe it will be time for Maghrib in some parts of the country, and I learned not all of us are here in Ilorin. So a question has just come in. Do we check that one and be the final one? Assalamu alaikum wa jazakumullah. Although the network wasn't friendly, but I would like you to shed more light on the Juma prayer during this time. I think we've said this, maybe this question was unable to follow us when we time being. Juma is a special form of Salah that was actually legislated for a special reason. And that reason is for Muslims in any location, in every city, in every district, to come out together, abandon their various masajid, salawat, congregation in their masajid, and come to show themselves as one united ummah in a mosque designated for Salatul Jummah. So for whatever reason, if you are unable to do that for COVID-19 or any other reason, then resorting to observing Salatul Jummah in our houses that will have 2-3 much by majority of contemporary scholars today. And I'm also of this view as well. Wallahu a'lam. But we should continue to observe our Jama'ah, as we said earlier on now.
Jazakumullahu khairan.
So,
hello, sir.
We have to start preparing for Salatul Maghrib now.
Now you can continue, sir.
No, I said we have to end it here because we must be preparing for Salatul Maghrib now.
Naam. It's understandable, sir.
So thank you very much. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyi